What? We're waiting for you. Come inside.
The rain had stopped, but the street was slick, reflecting the dim glow of a single flickering street lamp. I parked the van outside the old Holloway house, its windows black like empty eyes. The job was routine, a faulty radiator, a loose pipe. Just another Tuesday. I stepped onto the porch. The wood groaned beneath my boots, echoing too loudly in the unnatural silence. A faint smell of mildew and decay hung in the air. I reached for the doorknob. Cold, almost icy, though the house had been shut tight for years. Inside, the hall stretched farther than it should have. Paint peeled like curling skin, and every shadow seemed to twitch. My toolbox thudded against the floor. The sound didn't seem to come from me. From upstairs, a faint creak. Then a whisper. No, not a whisper, a murmur, almost a chant. "You shouldn't be here." I froze. I shook it off. Old house, old floorboards. But then a laugh, soft, childlike, dripping with something not quite human, came from the kitchen. My pulse quickened. The radiator hissed and steam curled in the shape of something watching. I took a step forward, hand trembling on the wrench. A shadow flickered in the corner of my eye. It wasn't mine. And then a scream, sharp, frantic, impossibly close, pierced the air. I froze. The door to the basement, which I hadn't noticed before, creaked open on its own. I should have left. But I didn't. The basement door groaned, swinging wider than it should have, revealing a darkness that seemed to absorb the dim overhead light. I tightened my grip on the wrench, my knuckles white. The smell hit me first. Stale, metallic, like old blood mingled with damp stone. I swallowed hard. Okay, nothing down there, I muttered to myself, but even my voice sounded wrong, hollow. The steps creaked beneath me as I descended, each one echoing in a rhythm that felt almost deliberate. Shadows pooled along the walls, stretching, twisting. My flashlight caught the edge of a broken pipe, but just for a second, then it seemed to vanish. I blinked, rubbed my eyes. I'm seeing things. A whisper brushed the back of my neck. Don't touch it. I spun. Nothing. Just the basement, silent except for the dripping water somewhere in the shadows. I shook my head. Old house. Spooky stories. Nothing more. I knelt to inspect the pipe. It was corroded, leaking, exactly as the call described. Easy fix. But then the wrench slipped, clanging against the concrete floor, and the sound echoed. Strangely. Not like metal on stone. Softer. Like it landed in thick, wet fabric. My stomach twisted. Upstairs, the radiator hissed, a slow, deliberate exhale. I froze. It shouldn't have been running. I remembered the note from the homeowner. Please don't touch the old radiator. It's finicky. I had laughed at it earlier. Now the laugh caught in my throat. A movement to my left. Quick. Too fast to be a shadow. I swung the flashlight. Nothing. Just the basement walls, peeling paint. Dark stains I didn't want to identify. My heart thumped. I told myself it was fatigue. A long week. Imagination. Then I heard it. Soft, careful footsteps, descending the stairs behind me. I whipped around. Empty. The basement was empty. My breath fogged in the cold air. A voice, low and trembling, came from the darkness. Why are you here? I froze. My hand gripped the wrench like a lifeline. I'm just fixing a pipe, I said. My voice cracked, too loud. Silence answered me. Then a faint scuff, the sound of something brushing against concrete, moving toward me. I wanted to run. Every instinct screamed to bolt up the stairs and out into the rain-soaked night. But something rooted me in place, a compulsion I didn't understand. My eyes scanned the room. Rusted tools lined the wall. A ladder leaned crookedly in the corner. And then I saw it, a smear on the far wall, dark and glistening. Wet. Moving. Not dripping. Sliding. Slowly, deliberately. I blinked. My mind rejected it. Old paint. A shadow. My pulse hammered. I forced a step backward. A sudden crash from upstairs, the front door slamming against the wall, made me jump. The flashlight flickered. For a heartbeat, the basement felt alive. Watching. Breathing. And then the whisper returned, closer this time, almost in my ear. "You can't leave." I spun again. Empty. Silence. But the door behind me, the one I had come down through, was now closed. Locked, though I had not touched it. I pounded my fists against the wood. Locked. Cold sweat dripped down my temple. The basement was waiting. Above me, a faint light flickered at the top of the stairs. I could see a shadow pass. Tall, thin, distorted, impossibly still yet moving. I realized I didn't know what I was looking at, and that terrified me more than anything else in that house. I should have left. I should have turned around. But I was already in too deep. Something in that house had noticed me. Something I didn't want to see. And then, from the darkness, a single word echoed, sharp, deliberate, and impossible to ignore. "Stay." I swallowed. My hand shook. My flashlight flickered again, this time revealing a smear across the wall. Freshly dark, glistening. It pulsed, almost like a heartbeat. That's when I understood. This wasn't just a broken radiator. This wasn't just an old house. And whatever was here wanted me. I realized too late that I had no idea what I had gotten myself into. The basement seemed endless now, though I knew logically it wasn't. The walls stretched farther than memory allowed, curling into corners I didn't notice before. Every creak of the old floorboards above me made my stomach twist. The flashlight trembled in my hand, its weak beam slicing the darkness into sharp, uneasy triangles. I tried to focus on the radiator first. It had stopped hissing, but a damp, metallic smell lingered in the air, clinging to my clothes and skin. I knelt to inspect it again, but as I drew closer, I noticed something impossible. Scratches on the metal, deep gouges, as though something had tried to force its way inside. I had left it alone for mere seconds. A whisper brushed my ear. "You shouldn't touch it." I jerked back. Nothing. Empty air. My breath was loud in the silence. My rational mind screamed that it was stress, imagination, fatigue. But the scratches weren't imagination. I stood slowly, scanning the room. And then I saw movement. Shadows, subtle at first, dancing along the far wall. They didn't belong to me. The beam of the flashlight caught a glimpse of something humanoid crouched in the corner, watching. I blinked. Empty again. My pulse raced. I climbed the stairs, desperate to check the rest of the house, to find a rational explanation. The hallway outside the basement was cold. Colder than the air had any right to be. I pulled my jacket tighter around me. The light flickered overhead. I froze as a soft, wet scraping sound came from the ceiling. I followed it up to the first floor. The living room, empty, silent, untouched. But the furniture had shifted. Chairs that had been against the walls were now haphazardly clustered in the center of the room, as though someone had gathered them for some ritual I didn't want to imagine. "Hello," I called, my voice breaking. Silence answered. Then came the footsteps. Slow, deliberate, upstairs. My head jerked toward the ceiling. My stomach lurched. I thought of calling someone, anyone, but my phone had no signal. No one would hear me. I was alone, completely, utterly alone. I remembered the neighbor's warning. Old Mrs. Caldwell had lived across the street. When I had asked about the house, she had shivered and whispered, "Don't leave this house. Not alive, anyway. Don't go in there. Whatever you see, it watches." I had laughed at the thought. A joke, right? But standing in that hallway, I realized the warning wasn't about superstition. It was about survival. I needed to understand. The house, the scratches, the shadows, the whispers. I needed context. I stepped toward the kitchen, hoping to find something concrete, some clue. And then I saw it, the diary. Old, leather-bound, lying open on the table as though someone had placed it there just for me. I opened it, careful not to disturb anything. The handwriting was small, precise, obsessive. "They come at night. We thought we could contain it, trap it, but it is patient. It waits. It watches. You cannot leave. None of us ever do. I swallowed hard. My rational mind tried to reject it. A story, a warning, old nonsense. But the diary was warm to the touch, almost alive. Footsteps echoed from the basement. My pulse thumped in my ears. I should leave. I should burn the diary, flee the house, call the police. But I couldn't. Something had rooted me in place, a magnetic pull toward the house's heart. I remembered the repair job, the radiator, the leaky pipe. Something about the plumbing felt wrong now, almost deliberate. I crouched near the pipes, running my fingers along the rusted edges. And then I saw it. Symbols etched into the metal, faint but unmistakable. Marks that didn't belong to human hands. They pulsed almost imperceptibly, like the house itself was breathing through the pipes. A whisper came again, soft and coaxing. It knows you. It wants you. I spun, wrench in hand. Nothing. Silence. But the air felt heavier, thicker. My lungs burned. Something unseen pressed against me, a weight that made my knees buckle. I staggered backward, hitting the wall. The diary slipped from my hands and fell open, flipping pages violently as though a gust of wind had passed through the room. I grabbed it instinctively. The writing on the next page froze me. Do not look at it. Do not follow the sound. Do not leave your room. Too late. The sound was already there. Soft, wet breathing from the hallway, moving closer, circling, impossible to locate. My rational mind screamed that it was my imagination, but my instincts, primitive and desperate, knew better. I ran toward the stairs, intending to escape the house entirely. The hallway stretched infinitely before me, the walls warped. I stumbled, my flashlight bouncing across the floor. Then I saw the shadow again, this time clearly. Tall, thin, with limbs that bent wrong. It mirrored my movements, silent but deliberate, as though mocking me. I scrambled up the stairs, hoping for the front door, the street, the rain outside. But the door had vanished. A wall of darkness loomed where it should have been. The house itself had shifted, like it had a mind of its own. I could hear the whispers everywhere now, not from one direction but surrounding me. Stay. Watch. Join us. I backed into the kitchen. The diary lay open before me. I wanted to burn it, tear it, destroy it. But my hands moved toward the writing as if guided by someone else. The symbols on the pages, the same marks on the pipes, seemed to crawl beneath my fingertips. Cold. Alive. Demanding attention. A memory flickered in my mind unbidden. A story Mrs. Caldwell had told me decades ago of the Holloway family. They had been obsessed. Obsessed with keeping something contained, something they had summoned generations before. Something that demanded life to survive. And now it wanted me. I turned abruptly. A reflection in the refrigerator door froze me. Not my own. A face pale, hollow-eyed, mouth stretched unnaturally, watching. I blinked. Gone. I shook my head, but the chill in my spine remained. I needed information. I couldn't leave, couldn't escape, but I could understand. I searched the kitchen drawers, old cabinets. Inside one, I found more papers, photographs. Previous repairmen, cleaners, occupants, all with blank stares, missing dates, bodies never found. A pattern emerged, horrifying in its simplicity. Anyone who entered alone, anyone who tried to fix something, disappeared, consumed by whatever haunted the house. My pulse quickened. My hand shook. I was alone, yes, but I was not safe. I could feel the house watching, breathing, deciding. I had become part of its pattern. And then, from the basement, that unmistakable sound. Slow, dragging footsteps, heavier than before, deliberate, unhurried. Closer. Waiting for me. I backed against the wall. The diary fell open again, the pages flipping to a final line that made my blood run cold. It knows your name. A whisper almost in my ear. Faraz. It knows you. I spun. Empty hallway. Only the warped shadows, the flickering lights, the air heavy with something alive. Something patient. Something hungry. I realized then, This was no ordinary repair job. This house had chosen me, and whatever waited in its shadows was about to make its move. The basement door creaked again, open wider than before, inviting me back into the darkness I had fled. I had no choice. The basement yawned beneath me like a mouth, waiting. The door had opened fully, swinging wide despite my earlier attempts to flee. The darkness inside seemed thicker than air, pressing against me, crawling up my spine. My flashlight flickered weakly, casting jagged shadows across the warped walls. I stepped in. The air smelled of iron, mold, and something darker. Something that had been waiting decades for me. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. The diary was clutched in my trembling hands, its symbols now glowing faintly, pulsing in sync with my pulse. I didn't know why I had brought it down, but I couldn't let go. It felt alive. From the corner of my eye, I saw movement. Too quick, too fluid to be human. The shadows danced, stretching into forms that mimicked me, twisted and wrong. I swung the flashlight. For a split second, I saw a figure. Tall, emaciated, with limbs bending in impossible angles, and hollow eyes that stared through me. Then it vanished. Faraz. The whisper, deep and guttural, reverberated around the basement. Not from one direction, all directions. I stumbled backward, hitting the wall. My wrench slipped from my grip. Something moved it, placing it upright against the wall. The air vibrated with a low hum, like the house itself was alive, aware, anticipating my next move. I tried to focus, to reason. The symbols on the pipes, the diary, the photographs, they all pointed to a truth I didn't want to face. The Holloway house didn't just trap its victims. It fed on them, twisted them, consumed their reality until nothing remained. And now it wanted me. A sudden crash echoed from above. The stairs shuddered, as though something heavy descended them. I froze. The figure appeared again, this time closer, reflected in the basement's old grimy window. It smiled, a grin that stretched impossibly wide. I screamed. The walls shifted. Doors appeared where none existed. Corridors twisted, ceilings lowered, and then expanded. Time warped. A minute felt like an hour. The basement seemed infinite, folding into itself. I ran blindly, tripping over the distorted floorboards. Shadows followed, whispering my name, mocking my fear. "You can't leave." The voice came again, closer, almost in my ear. I spun. The figure was there, impossibly close, stretching toward me. Its fingers elongated, skeletal, and its mouth opened in a silent scream that reverberated inside my skull. Pain shot through me, disorienting, almost physical. I ran for the pipes, maybe destroying the radiator, breaking the plumbing, anything to fight back. But as I reached it, the symbols glowed brighter, pulsing like a heartbeat. The diary fell open on the floor. Its pages flipped wildly, landing on a single chilling line. "You belong here now." The words burned into my vision. I staggered back. The shadow moved faster now, circling me, twisting the basement into shapes that defied logic. The walls pressed closer, constricting, forcing me to kneel. I clawed at the floor, desperate, but the concrete felt like quicksand, pulling me down. A whisper from behind. "See what we see. Feel what we feel." Pain exploded in my head. Memories not my own, images I didn't want, flashed. Previous victims, trapped, screaming silently, faces pale and hollow. I realized with horror that the house had shown them to me, absorbed them into itself. And now it was showing me my fate. Join us. The basement door slammed shut. I was in total darkness. The whispers surrounded me, overlapping, unintelligible yet piercing. My flashlight flickered, revealing the figure once more, this time in front of me. Its eyes were endless voids. Its mouth opened, and I heard not a sound but a flood of voices, hundreds of screams layered together, inside my head, inside my chest. I fell to my knees. I tried to speak. Words failed. My mind scrambled for logic. This isn't real. It can't be real. I can leave. I can escape. But the house had already taken hold. A sudden movement. The radiator hissed violently, steam curling into shapes I couldn't decipher. I tried to wrench it apart. The wrench bent, then broke, twisting unnaturally in my hands. I dropped it. The diary levitated, flipping pages rapidly. The glow intensified, illuminating the basement, showing figures. Dozens of them, trapped in the shadows, reaching, pressing toward me. Their eyes were hollow mouths agape in eternal screams. I screamed, stumbling backward into a corner. My body trembled. The walls themselves seemed alive, pressing in, bending time and space. My mind fractured. I couldn't tell if seconds or hours passed. My hands, my feet, my vision, everything betrayed me. Stay. The voice reverberated in my skull. A figure lunged. I tried to move. My legs wouldn't respond. My heart raced, pounding against my ribs like it wanted to escape. The figure reached me. Its hand, impossibly long, impossibly cold, touched my shoulder. Everything went black. I opened my eyes to find myself somewhere different. Not the basement. Not the house I knew. Shapes hovered in the darkness, silhouettes of men, women, children, all with hollow eyes. Faces of past victims. The air hummed with a low, mournful chant. I tried to speak. My voice cracked. Who are you? A chorus of whispers answered. We are what it keeps. You are next. Panic surged. I tried to run. The shadows shifted, moving with me, pressing closer. I realized, the house didn't just trap people. It trapped their very selves. Consciousness, identity, memory. The house wasn't just alive. It was a predator. And now it had marked me. I remembered the diary. I lunged for it, desperate. It floated toward me, pages flipping to the last line. Once you see, you cannot leave. Once you hear, you belong forever. The walls pulsed. The floor writhed beneath me. The figure reached again. I screamed, louder than ever, and felt my mind stretching, tearing, merging with the darkness. And then silence. A heartbeat. A flicker of light. A figure collapsed at my feet. Not me. Something else. Something new. The basement breathed, settling. Waiting. Patient. I wasn't free. I hadn't escaped. The house had won. From somewhere above, a whisper, soft, deliberate, and unmistakable. Another repair job begins soon. The house was silent. Too silent. I opened my eyes slowly, the dim glow of the basement light reflecting off walls that no longer felt familiar. The shadows had receded, leaving only a hollow emptiness. My arms ached, my legs trembled. I could feel the weight of something clinging to me, invisible, patient, as though I had brought a piece of the darkness with me when I woke. I staggered to my feet. The basement floor, once warped and alive, was now still, almost benign. The pipes hissed faintly, but the symbols had faded into rust. The diary lay at my feet, closed, its leather cover cool and lifeless. I picked it up. Nothing stirred. Nothing moved. Yet I knew, somehow, the house was still watching. Waiting. I climbed the stairs. The hallway outside was eerily pristine. The furniture had returned to its proper places. The air smelled clean, almost normal. I blinked, half expecting the shadows to snap back into shape, to pounce, to claim me. But nothing happened. I opened the front door. Rain had stopped, leaving the streets slick and glimmering under the weak light of the street lamps. I stepped outside. The world seemed unchanged. Ordinary. Mundane. The street was quiet, empty, almost too quiet. And yet, I could still hear it. Faintly, softly, like a distant whisper brushing against my mind. You belong here. I swallowed hard. Shivers ran down my spine. The words didn't come from the house. They came from somewhere inside me. Somewhere I hadn't known existed until it had been awakened in the basement. I tried to walk away. My boots splashed in puddles. I told myself it was over, that I had survived, that whatever terror had lived in the house had released me. But the world felt off. Shadows clung too long to street corners, lights flickered where they shouldn't, and every reflection I passed in windows and puddles seemed just slightly wrong. I reached my van and paused. My toolbox was gone. Not missing, vanished. I felt a pang of unease. Something inside me knew it wasn't just the van or the tools. Something from the basement had followed. Something patient. Waiting. I sat inside, gripping the steering wheel, trembling. Rainwater dripped from my hair. I tried to recall everything. The whispers, the faces, the diary, the shadows that moved with thought. My mind recoiled at the memory, but pieces clung, fragments of visions and sounds I couldn't forget. I thought of the previous repairmen, the photographs, the diary, the Holloway family's legacy. I realized with chilling clarity, the house didn't just trap bodies. It trapped people's very essence. And whatever had touched me in the basement had left a trace. Something intangible, something permanent. I wanted to tell someone. Police. Friends. Anyone. But my throat felt clogged. Words lodged halfway between thought and speech. I had no proof, no evidence. Even if I described it, they wouldn't understand. It sounded insane. And maybe I was insane. Maybe part of me hadn't left the basement at all. I drove home in silence. Every turn of the wheels sounded exaggerated in the quiet of the night. Every streetlight flicker set my nerves on edge. My apartment, usually a sanctuary, felt foreign, hollow, almost too still. I flipped the lights on, checked the locks, double-checked the doors. Nothing moved, nothing seemed wrong. And yet I could feel it, a presence, patient, watching. I tried to sleep, but the darkness of my bedroom wasn't dark. Shadows moved at the edge of my vision. The faint scent of rust and mildew lingered, inexplicably. I heard whispers. Soft. Patient. Persuasive. It knows you. You are ours now. I sat on the edge of the bed, shivering, clutching the diary. I couldn't read it again. I didn't want to. But I couldn't throw it away either. The pages seemed to hum faintly in my hands, reminding me that the house's reach extended far beyond its walls. That night, I understood. Survival was temporary. Awareness was permanent. And fear. Fear was a shadow that would follow me forever. The following days were a haze. I tried to work to repair other things to be normal. But everything felt hollow. People's eyes seemed to linger a second too long. Hallways and buildings I walked through seemed longer, darker, twisting. Every creak, every flicker of light, every faint whisper reminded me. The house hadn't released me. It had only marked me. I received a call one morning from a new client, asking for a routine repair job at another old isolated house. My hand trembled as I held the phone. I wanted to refuse. I wanted to run. But a strange compulsion surged through me. Part of me knew that one day I would return. At night, when sleep finally claimed me, the visions came again. Faces of past victims stared from the corners, silent and hollow-eyed. Shadows crept along the walls of my apartment, shapes bending unnaturally, whispering secrets I didn't want. And always, the lingering promise. Another repair job begins soon. I understood then that the house's hunger wasn't physical. It was insidious, patient, infinite. It waited for me to forget, for me to grow comfortable, and then it would call again. And when it did, I would answer. I am changed. Not physically, but in ways I cannot articulate. Fear pulses through me like blood. Every reflection, every sound, every shadow whispers that I am not alone. That I never was alone. And somewhere far away, I know the Holloway house stands silently, patient and eternal. Waiting. I close my eyes and feel the darkness beneath my skin, the pull that whispers ever softly. It's time. Time to return. I try to run from it. But I know. I will never escape.